see if we online. 1 second. I wonder if we can add the TikTok to the live on the.
I was gonna ask you want to go live from TikTok?
Well, I was saying like on as far as on the know how we got them on the everything. Yeah. I wonder if we can do it at the same time. But the only thing I'm scared about that is because they the most sensitive as well.
God, they gonna take it down.
Man, you
already going live?
Kind of. Well, okay. I'm seeing. Okay, there's something. I don't know why I never noticed that microphone. I never noticed that microphone icon right there. But I don't see the live yet. I'm just making sure we on. Hold on 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. If we are live, Salakia, but I just don't see the live. I just want to make sure we live. Because I'm not seeing it. Oh, you know what? We may be live everywhere else. But sometimes on the
Facebook is not going on.
So sometimes on the Facebook you have to relink it. So let me make sure on the Facebook at least. See, yeah, on the Facebook it said it's sending data.
Oh, so it's not going live yet.
One second. Sometimes I have to re-enter the. Sometimes you gotta re-enter the Oh, you know what? You might not be able to go to live from Facebook.
Why is that?
Because I think we were restricted for 29 days on Facebook.
For what?
A post or something said in a post. So a post I shared from Facebook, Salakia, a post I shared from Facebook, and they said the post that I shared from Facebook went against the community guidelines.
What was the post?
Remember that I don't even know if I want to say, well, hell, we ain't on Facebook, but remember that the KKK is a Christian organization too.
That's sensitive. They are. You shared a post.
That's what it said.
They usually don't flag your page for sharing the post. They usually flag the person who made it.
And that's what I tried to go back and debate it or
kind of dispute it.
And they said it goes against community. I'm like, are y'all aware that I shared this from? It wasn't even nobody. It was just another post I seen. Right. And I shared it.
Good night.
So yeah, all right. But anyway, clap it up. We still live on YouTube. YouTube, and we can just share. We just have to share the class of YouTube. So that's my bad for sharing. Our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. So that's our bad. We can't go live from Facebook because I'm sharing content of the truth, by the way. But
we can still tag the school in it, right?
We should be able to.
We would tag No Cars KC on the from the YouTube post, huh?
Okay, let me try that real quick. So I guess that's one of the restrictions of us going live. We can't go live, but we can still post.
Okay, kind.
So.
Yeah, I see us on live on YouTube, and what I could do is share it.
Yeah, I'm about to share it to the page now from YouTube. Okay. Well, anyway, we the Isupk start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander Junior Hanna. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group or organization. And what we do is teach the truth according to the Bible. That all so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians are the true Jews according to the Bible, or the 12 lost tribes. And tonight is the Tuesday night Brotherhood class, something we never learned inside the Christian church, something we'll never learn inside the Muslim mosque, something we'll never learn on our own, because we haven't been taught true brotherhood. We give all our love to the oppressor. We give all our love to the Christian church. And in return, it teaches us how to hate ourselves as a nation, because the Bible says, when the Bible says love thy neighbor, we get it confused like it's talking about our oppressor, or it's talking about the so-called Chinese man, right, or it's talking about the Arabs or the Africans. We don't picture ourselves as our neighbors because we can't picture ourselves in unity.
That's right.
You understand? We never picture ourselves in unity. I don't want. We look at each other like we the ops.
Right.
You understand? Like we just some Crips and Bloods. Like we just I don't know the cartels like you do, but the cartels over here on the Gulf versus the cartels over here on the west or on the west the western side of Mexico.
God.
The cartels are banging. You got the MS-13s banging against the Mexican mafia. We don't know brotherhood, but we'll all submit to another nation, which brings me to the topic, one of the topics that I wanted to talk about. Well, I'm back on China Mac. I talked about him, how much brotherhood he has for his nation. It makes me jealous. It makes me jealous that this Moabite who is using black culture, using hip hop to push for his people. You understand, Adawan? Like he's using our culture to help fight and defend his people. Now, you know, you and I, we don't agree with like hardly anything that Nut Charleston White says.
That's right.
Like anything. We're in the ISPK, we follow Commanding General Hana. You understand? We don't say anything out our mouths because General Muhammad teaches us to watch our damn mouths.
That's right.
We watch our mouths. That's how you build brotherhood. If I go around offending every damn body, who the hell is going to want to join with me? You understand? So we have to watch our mouths. Now, the China Mac is, like I said, he's using hip hop, the platform of hip hop, because he considers himself a hip hop artist. He doesn't consider himself like a guest in hip hop as all the loyal fans to hip hop, because blacks and Hispanics created the art. But yet, because of Dr. Martin Luther King and Christianity, we don't own anything because of integration. But we understand one thing, that we created it.
That's right.
You understand? We understand that we should benefit from it. But as long as we keep trying to bring other nations in, we'll be the ones at the bottom not getting the proper recognition we should be getting for it. So in what happens is you got cats like China Mac, who Captain Tazariak and Captain Katazai interviewed, get him a hand. You understand? They talked to the Moabite Crip Mac, and Captain Katazai laid it down flat for him and laid it down straight, like you are a guest in this arena. We don't care if you make hip hop, but you don't have a voice like we do because this is our art. But here we go, a month or two later, he's still using his voice in the hip hop community to fight for his people behind the things or the remarks that Charleston White made. Now, you can only imagine what Charleston White said, the remarks that he said about this Moabite. And he had a show in New York that DJ Academics was promoting. So the show got canceled. China Mac, before the show got canceled, before Charleston White canceled the show out of line, not Crip Mac, China Mac went on live and said, and he said this, that, you know, we're going to hold Charleston White accountable for him talking about my race of people. we going to show up to this show, meaning the Chinese or the Moabites, according to the Bible, and set Charleston White straight, in other words, because of all the disrespect he's been making towards our nation. He's not going for it, I don't mind. But then we look at the form of hip hop now, it's all disrespectful or disrespecting blacks and Hispanics. You listen to a hip hop song, it's no brotherhood.
That's right.
There's no brotherhood. And don't get me wrong, I listen to music, I know it's entertainment. But the message behind the nation who is so weak, we got a lot of cats out here who are so weak that it just take hip hop serious and they'll try to live up to the song because they're weak and our nation is full of demons. You understand? And our oppressor knows that. Now you have China Mac, who admitted to saying the N-word, who admitted to saying hip hop. He's not, rapping about, well, he may be rapping about the same stuff that we're rapping about, but he's not allowing his nation to be disrespected. You understand? He's not allowing his nation to be disrespected like we are.
That's right.
We'll talk, we'll say, we'll go rap about sleeping with another brother's wife, which is adultery according to the Bible. We'll go out and talk about turning the ops into packs, which is a sin according to the Bible. You understand? But China Mac is rapping about the same thing you're rapping about, but he's going and defending his nation. Because China Mac has brotherhood, I don't mind.
That's right.
Why wouldn't you defend your nation? Why wouldn't Floyd Mayweather go and help clean the water in Flint? Why did 50 Cent go and build wells and Oprah Winfrey go and build wells in Africa versus in Chicago and where's 50 Cent from?
New York.
Southside Jamaican Queens, New York. Why didn't they go, help their neighbor? They went, thousands of miles across the ocean to go help a nation.
That's right.
When they got brothers and sisters starving right here in their own backyard, their neighbor.
That's right.
And this is why Commanding General Yohana's job is so important. Because blacks and Hispanics outside of the ISUPK, we wouldn't experience or know what brotherhood is. We would continue to think that your neighbor, according to the Bible, means the other nations. Means whoever lives next door to you. Means whatever your slave master wants your neighbor to be. In other words, because that's all that happens, man. No one is defending blacks and Hispanics outside of the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana.
Yeah, right.
Nobody. And now we have a Moabite using our culture to defend for his own nation. It's disgusting.
That's right.
It's disgusting. So blacks and Hispanics, we need to wake the hell up, man. We need to wake the hell up. Salaki, I forgot. Did you share the live to Facebook?
Con, I shared it to our page on the
Okay, kind of Salaki.
Me too.
I got caught up talking
Me too.
about this Crip Mac, this heathen, using our culture to build up his nation. I mean, and that goes for every, in the book of, can I get Psalms 83?
Con.
Baba Kashah Adawan. In Psalms 83, which, the Adawan is about to read, it tells you how all these other nations conspire against us. How all these other nations know that we're God's chosen people. Know that, we're the salt of the earth. Know that the Most High God made us special and holy, meaning separate.
That's right.
But yet, for some reason, the Christian church, the black leaders of today, for some reason want to keep joining hand in hand with the oppressor.
Right.
They think they actually don't think. They don't think it's going to benefit the nation at all. Martin Luther King, let me tell you something. Martin Luther King didn't think his dream was going to benefit the entire nation. It sounded good. He knew that his dream was going to benefit his ride.
Right.
And his lust.
Damn right.
And all the nasty, dreams that he was really having about those oppressor women. He knew his dream was going to help out his fantasy and his lust, man.
That's right.
You understand? So these black leaders understand that, their movement towards integration, and just like who was that the president? What's his name? That damn oppressor, Joe Biden.
God.
That walk that he did with Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, and they literally said that it failed.
That's right.
And they're still walking to give back black people, so-called blacks and Hispanics, the false hope to keep us, docile.
That's right.
To keep us asleep. So when brothers and sisters see that, Joe Biden's walking with Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. And it's not going to stop brothers like Tyree Nichols from being put to death by police officers. It's not going to stop racist oppressors like, what was his name? That unalived Trayvon Martin.
George Zimmerman.
George Zimmerman. It's not going to stop racist oppressors like George Zimmerman for, hating young black boys like Trayvon Martin. It's not going to stop that oppressor for unaliving Botham John in his apartment while he was eating a bowl of ice cream. That walking and that marching and that false hope is the reason these things are happening, man. That's what blacks and Hispanics have to understand. And our oppressor knows it. Your fake leaders inside the Christian church and inside of the government and Congress and, wherever they're voted in, right here in Kansas City.
That's right.
Sly, what the hell is his name? Not Sly James. We passed
Quentin
Sly James. Quentin Lucas. All he talks about is football and barbecue.
That's right.
He's not solving issues for blacks and Hispanics. He's making it worse.
That's right.
He's making things worse here in the city that he grew up in.
That's right.
You can't even be homeless in Kansas City.
Right.
It's against the law to be homeless. They're evicting, they're even evicting heathens.
Right.
They're trying to gentrify everything and everywhere. They're coming to take everything and pushing us out so we can continue to suffer. Because the black leaders in the Christian church don't teach obedience to God.
Right.
And without obedience to the Most High God, we suffer. And they are of their father the devil, so they get they get rewards from our oppressor. They get the crumbs of our oppressor, and they're satisfied and happy, man. You understand? You got that out of wine?
God. Psalms chapter 83 verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O Most High. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High.
So right here in Psalms 83, you understand? This is King David right here.
Right.
And he's saying, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh, O the Most High. He's telling the Lord, he's praying and reaching out to the Most High God. Not for himself. Because King David had brotherhood.
That's right.
He had some of the King David. Let me tell you, King David had some brotherhood that was so heavy that the brotherhood that King David had surpassed the woman.
That's right.
You understand? You know, in the world, out of wine, we love them hoes. So like, we love them women.
Right.
We love chasing their tail.
God.
But imagine if you had a brother who you cared about his life more than your own.
Yeah, right.
That's true brotherhood. That's what we have in ISUPK.
Yeah, right.
That's what me and Officer Malak got.
Yeah, right.
That's what Commanding General Hana taught us, man.
That's right. Yeah, right.
Imagine your love surpassing a woman. Imagine if MLK's love truly surpassed those oppressor women. I mean, well, damn, you know, he had a voice. He was gifted. He could talk. He could talk his behind off. But he did it for the wrong reason. And the oppressor was in control of Martin Luther King, and they knew it because our oppressor is cunning. You understand? Our oppressor is cunning. But anyway, King David had brotherhood, and he was reaching out to the Most High God, telling the Most High God to, you know, keep not thy silence, hold not thy peace. He was a warrior, man. He didn't want the Most High to hold, to have peace with our oppressor, to have peace with China Mac, to have peace with all these heathens.
Yeah, right.
Not because we just hate the oppressor, but because of the crimes and how they conspire against the children of Israel, man. That's why. Keep going, Baba Gashah.
Verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let them what?
Let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let them be who they are.
And let us cut them off from being a nation.
I thought Black Lives Matter.
Let us cut them off from being a nation.
That's what our enemies, meaning these other nations, these heathens, the so-called, well, I'm just going to say the oppressor.
That's right.
The oppressor being in the, being in the lead, being the tip of the arrow.
That's right.
You understand? Our oppressor, along with these other nations, the other nations meaning the Ishmaelites, the Arabs, the Hamites, the so-called Africans, the Moabites, the so-called Chinese, the Ammonites, the so-called Japanese, who else? The Elamites, the East Indians, all these other nations, man, come and conspire against the children of Israel to cut us off from being a nation. And so far, they have been doing an excellent job.
That's right.
They've been doing an excellent job because we want to be like them. And as long as they can trick the children of Israel to make it seem like their gods are greater than ours, they'll continue. Their conspiracy will continue to thrive.
That's right.
You understand? When their God isn't better than our gods. You understand? I mean, Salakia, our God, their gods, I said that backwards, Salakia. Their gods are not better than the Most High God. You understand? The Most High God said there are many gods, but I am the one.
That's right.
You understand? He's the Most High God. You understand? He created everything in the entire earth.
That's right.
You understand? He created blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to reign supreme, to be number one. He chose us to be the salt of the earth. He chose us to be special. And here we go, whoring ourselves out with these other nations, which puts us at the bottom, which keeps us conspired to lose our identity and to, just be lost. You understand? To be lost, man. All these other nations, it said make a tumult. You understand?
That's right.
And it said a tumult and what else?
A tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
The Bible says, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They lifted up the head and said, man, look at these, look at these niggas, man. Look at these spicks and these savages. Look at them. They're afraid. I was watching something today that was so heavy. It was an old clip of Farrakhan, but it was just the oppressor in the audience of that old show. I remember my grandmother watching.
Oh, Mark
Donahue.
God.
That old oppressor Donahue. Hey, when you go back and watch a lot of those old shows, they actually had some decent topics back then for the 90s.
God, because everybody wasn't focused on big booty hoes.
Oh, yeah.
That's why everybody wasn't on the internet. There was no internet then, so people were a lot more sophisticated. There were people who actually had to read and go in libraries and read. And the internet have been the downfall of so many blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians because it highlights your lack and ability or inability of your discipline.
Damn right.
You don't have discipline. You can't get off of Facebook. You can't get off of Twitter. Back in the 80s, in 1988, 1992, there was no internet. So you had no choice but to read it in a book. You had no choice but to be aware of what was going on around you, to be conscious of what was going on around you, which means to be aware. So those old shows where you look at, they had guests like Farrakhan, they had guests like Huey P. Newton, and doctors and black lawyers and black engineers and social scientists and black PhDs who actually gave a damn about trying to fix the community that they were raised in. That's because those black people that like Farrakhan wasn't born post-interracial society. He was born pre-interracial society,
right,
where he saw Jim Crow. And he saw blacks had to be separate and the oppressor had to be separate. Like the people they had on the show as guests that were sophisticated, the reason why they were sophisticated because they got their degrees from Morehouse, from Spelman, from HBCUs, historically black colleges, from Hampton, Norfolk State, Bethune-Cookman, Tulane. Like these are HBCUs that they had to get their degree from. Why? Because they were not allowed in the oppressor schools. And they became educated. And they became sophisticated. And they became aware of what was going on around them because they had no choice. That's what segregation does to a people. And they were on those shows back then. And they made such good content because nobody was getting high and smoking weed. Everybody in that generation knew that I have to be more educated than the previous generation before me because I come from slaves and my grandmother couldn't read and my grandfather had a second grade education. So what am I going to do? Be like them? No, I'm going to be better than them in a pre-racial society before integration, before you get to see black people going and shopping at Woolworth. When you get to see black people going to HBCUs, you don't see that anymore. Now your black head coach goes to a private white institute like Colorado State, like Deion Sanders.
Right.
Instead of staying with the black kids, making sure he has a positive influence on black children, you had no choice but to do it. So those black people that were on all of those white shows like Donahue, Phil Donahue, and Oprah Winfrey, and this talk show and that talk show, because everybody was more aware because they wasn't searching through the internet looking at World Trade Center conspiracies. They wasn't looking at conspiracies of COVID-19 and where did COVID-19 come from. There was no Tucker Carlson back then, or Joe Rogan, Salagia, or that oppressor Alex Jones.
Don't forget him.
Or that oppressor Alex Jones, who black people have made their God. Somewhere between 2004 and now, black people have made... They have started smoking weed, and they have made Alex Jones their God. And everything Alex Jones says, and I never thought I'd see it in my day, where a race of people just listen only to the things that some oppressor says, and he clearly doesn't make any sense or have any proof to back anything up. He said that Michelle Obama was a man, and black people have shared that she's a man, and they believe it.
Oh, so
he's the one who said that she's a man.
I didn't know
he's the one that said aliens exist and real. He's the one who say the CIA knows the end of the world and this and that. And black people actually listen to him with no facts, nothing to back it up. You know why? Because you are not sophisticated like your forefathers.
Right.
Like the black people back in the 80s who were PhD professors, guess what? They were knowledgeable on everything, on current events. Why? And they knew how to back what they said up and prove what they said. Why? Because they didn't grow up in a post-interracial society. They grew up where they saw a grandmother going to work for white folk, and they had to sweep their floors and clean the streets and put their face in a laughing barrel. So they said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that I never live life like grandma, that I never have to share crop like Paul, that I never have to go and break my back for my oppressor. So I'm going to use my education so I can become sophisticated enough to talk about black issues, to bring light and shed light on black issues, to speak truth to power. Whatever happened to that, Elisha? There was an old saying back in the 80s and 90s when black people actually gave a damn about education before BBLs, before K2, before getting high, before gummies, weed gummies and THC gummies, before TikTok. Black people actually said we should speak truth to power. We should speak truth to power. And you actually cared about your education. Black people actually cared not to end up like Paw, who was a sharecropper.
Right.
That's because they got to see black people putting their faces in laughing barrels. If you want black people to be more educated, if you want what you're about to bring out, Elisha, if you want black people to be able to speak truth to power on shows like Phil Donahue and Oprah like in the 80s, then you know what's got to happen? Our oppressor has to be more cruel to black people. Our oppressor has to be more cruel to Native Indians, be more cruel to Mexicans. Why? So then you won't have a choice but to be more active in your community, like the black people in times past, than to be more sophisticated on issues of current affairs and current events. Now you just listen to Alex Jones. But what about when Alex Jones' people starts to be more cruel to you? And Alex Jones supports those people that are more cruel to you. You won't listen to Alex Jones then. Then you'll actually go to school to be a lawyer and to be a doctor and to be a neurosurgeon and to be a philosopher and to actually care about your education enough to educate the youth, to educate your children.
That's right.
So they could be aware of what's going on, how to stop it, how to fix it, how to stop it, and what's the solutions. You don't have that anymore because everybody listens to Alex Jones and the internet.
Right.
And everybody's stuck and fixated on podcasts of people that don't have a degree in anything. Like, think about this, Elisha. You listen to podcasts of people who start the podcast and who are not experts in anything. The people who start podcasts aren't doctors and lawyers. The people who start podcasts are not, some neurosurgeon. The people who start podcasts or psychiatrists, they're just people who graduated high school and they was working at McDonald's and working at Burger King and working at Quick Trip and at the gas station and at their local pizzeria. And then one day the internet came on and people started podcasts. And then everybody just started doing it. And they've learned that if I could just say anything I want to and people are going to listen and I get paid for it. I could put a big pot of gumbo right in front of a TV screen, in front of a camera. I will eat the gumbo on camera and get paid $100 million a year. What in the hell would I ever go to school for? When you idiots are just going to watch dummies like you do dumb things and prank people. There are men who are 40 years old who are professional pranksters.
You almost get killed.
And they almost die and they still do it. Why? Because they're getting paid to do it. And I always, as a child, I never thought in your wildest imaginations that when our parents told us to stop laughing at everything, be more serious, don't prank people, don't do these jokes, I never thought that 40-year-old men, when I got to be a grown man, that grown men would do it as a living. And they have a show called Impractical Jokers, where grown men just joke and get paid to do it. Women get paid to put a camera in front of them and eat. They're never going to be doctors and lawyers and scientists because they get paid to do nothing. They get paid to learn nothing. Your country, your society, the people you look up to is ran by a bunch of idiots. A bunch of idiots, Donald Trump was president of the United States of America.
Right.
With no political experience, with no background in politics, with no background in education. Just a businessman who inherited the business from his daddy. And he was the president of the United States. Your society is ran by a bunch of idiots. Your community, all the podcasters you listen to, they're a bunch of idiots. And you too are an idiot because you listen to everybody who tells you everything instead of listening to Commander Juliana, who knows everything about everything. And General Mahaiman, who just knows everything, Elisha. We know everything in the Israelite School UPK, and the most important thing that we know how to do, Elisha, is we know how to solve our people's problems. We know how to do that.
That's right.
And nobody else does. So if we know how to solve your problems, nobody else does, then you should just listen to us. Because we are experts in the field of solving blacks and Hispanics problems. That's where our expertise is. So all you should do is just listen to us. All you should do is just stop listening to all those people on the podcast. Stop listening to politicians. Stop watching commercials. Get off computers and internet. And just look at the videos on YouTube of the ISUPK.
That's right.
That's all you better do.
That's right.
So, yeah.
And if I may, Baba Kasha, can I get Isaiah, just because you hitting something real heavy, Isaiah 30:9. And you look at I've been seeing a lot of black people, right? Everybody's terrified that Mississippi is going to bring back the Jim Crow. You understand? Or if they're talking about bringing back the Jim Crow. I probably didn't seen, I don't know how many countless videos on TikTok about the Jim Crow. Everybody's scared of the Jim Crow. Well, just like you said, Adawar, that's probably what we need. We probably need Jim Crow so we can get the hell off TikTok and twerking and smoking weed and snorting cocaine and doing all types of things that are corrupt against the Most High God.
Right.
And then we can probably see that our oppressor, is the devil that the Bible speaks of. They would bring back Jim Crow, and they'll have brothers and sisters. They'll have us back in those cotton fields. We'll get humble quick. We'll get humble quick out of wine. These people, they talking about they scared of Jim Crow. You got to be scared of the Most High God.
That's right.
We got to fear the Most High God. You talking about Jim Crow, and I mean, like you said, well, you're gonna go prank. You're gonna go roll up some Zah, and I mean, just do. I can't say what I want to say. You got that out of wine. So
what is it out?
So like Isaiah chapter 30, verse 9.
God, I got you.
Everybody's scared of Jim Crow. We talk about this and we talk about that. When the problem is the leadership hasn't warned us about our enemies, like we just read in Psalms the 83rd chapter, man. Right. Our enemies are conspired against us. So they have to, for the Most High God to let you know this is your enemy, he may allow our oppressor to bring Jim Crow back. Because it's the only way blacks and Hispanics are going to understand that we should not, we got to separate from them, man.
That's right.
That may be the only way we understand that we need to separate from our oppressor. But we keep trying to force, critical race theories down their throat to make them understand black culture. And we think that's going to stop the hate that they have for us in their heart or in their mind. It's never going to stop. You understand?
So, like, if I could,
please,
I've been seeing this all over. Like you said, you hit the nail on the head. Black people are petrified. I've been seeing black TikTokers and podcasters.
All day.
They've been talking about this. I didn't even know these niggas watch the news. So like, all I thought they knew was big booty hoes, the best strip clubs to go to, and weed, the best weed to get in town. Lo and behold,
they know that too.
The Jim Crow, it was like, oh, Mississippi. I seen so many people post about it and all these videos about it. It's probably got millions of views. And all these black people are just in a frenzy. Is Jim Crow coming back? Jim Crow is coming back. Let me help every black person in Hispanic at home. Let me help you understand this. Jim Crow is not coming back out. You can just rest your you can bless your heart out. Just rest your heart, rest your mind. If you think that oppressor is going to come back with a whip on a damn, if you think that they're going to have a sign that says, no black people here, if you think they're going to make voting law, all of that, it's not going to happen. This is what you should be focused on, if I may, Elisha. You shouldn't be focused on if Jim Crow is coming back or not, because it's not. This is what you should be focused on. What you should be focused on is all of that weed that you smoke. That's what you should be focused on. You should be focused on not getting high. That's it. Your whole frenzy, black people are in a frenzy about this. This is something like the COVID-19. When COVID-19 was around, this is the last thing I can remember that made social media and black Twitter go crazy. They're going crazy on black Twitter, and black people are going crazy about this so-called alleged Jim Crow law that they're supposed to be passing in Mississippi. This is what I want black people in Mississippi to understand. Okay, they are the poorest state in the entire country.
Kind of the kind, sir.
Which means black people that live in Mississippi are the poorest black people in the country. If white people in Mississippi are the poorest in the country, black people in Mississippi are the poorest in the country. Black people don't have clean drinking water in Mississippi. Did you know that? Okay, so all of the Jim Crow and if they're going to pass it, is it going to pass? This is what you better focus on. You better focus on separating from your oppressor and joining together with your brothers.
That's right.
And your sisters. Tonight's class, Brotherhood class.
Damn right.
If you don't focus on brotherhood, whether or not Jim Crow passes or doesn't pass, it won't matter to you. The only reason black people are so worried if Jim Crow is coming back is because your weak, disgusting, sellout leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. join you and your children to your oppressor. And so now the detriment of that is now you are dependent on your oppressor. Instead of black people owning farms in Mississippi like they did in 1925, you don't own the land that grows your food. Instead of having schools that only your children can go to, like in 1925, before integration, now you have to send your child to a school that's going to get shot up by an oppressor.
Right.
Instead of you having clean drinking water in Jackson, Mississippi, because you control the resources that come and go out of your community, like it was during Jim Crow in 1950, like it was during segregation in 1950, now guess what? Now you can't get clean drinking water. Now you have to wait in line with white people.
That's right.
To get clean drinking water. Now you have to compete with Arabs and Chinese and Japanese and East Indians for the resources in your community, because guess what, Elisha? They are minorities too.
Yeah.
Dr. King did something that you better focus in on. He joined you to your oppressor. Whether Jim Crow is coming back or not, you shouldn't even care. The only reason that black people in Mississippi care about if Jim Crow is coming back or not is because the last 60 years since Dr. King's death, you have been so dependent on your oppressor.
Damn right.
That it's going to make a difference. If we never joined our oppressor and integrated into his society, whether Jim Crow came back, whether Mississippi had clean drinking water, whether white people were poor in Mississippi, wouldn't affect black people in Mississippi.
Right.
Because you would have had your own businesses, your own water, your own food, your own land, your own everything, your own schools. Schools where education wouldn't affect. Mississippi has one of the worst education systems. That wouldn't affect black people. Black people would have been educated because they would have went to black schools. Like, your whole life has been depending on your oppressor. What you should focus in on is having brotherhood.
That's right.
And separating from your oppressor so that you won't be so affected by his decisions in office, which is the whole problem with critical race theory. You would be able to learn about black people in history and slavery and the disgusting acts of America in the schools and in classrooms if it wasn't for you loving what your oppressor approves and disapproves
Damn
of.
right.
Had we never joined this place and had we never followed that idiot Dr. King, you wouldn't care if Jim Crow was coming back or not, because you would have been living your life for the past 60 years on top of the oppressor in Mississippi. Now you're concerned if they're going to bring lynchings back. Now you're concerned if Jim Crow's coming back. Now you're concerned of this and that. I hear you. I get it. But what you should focus in on is not Jim Crow and laws and politicians and lynchings. What you should focus in on is how in the hell do I get away from white people?
Damn right.
How do I stop getting high? How do I stop hating my brother? How do I stop being a criminal? How do I stop? Because if you're not focused on separating from your oppressor, then it's not going to matter whether Jim Crow comes back or not, because you're still going to be in the same position. And that blew my mind that it was out of all states, it was in Mississippi. I don't think people understand. You should research Mississippi. Mississippi is hell on earth.
Kind of the kind.
The jails down there, the prisons down there, the schools down there. Mississippi is stuck in 1955. Like black people who was on Twitter, I don't think they've ever been to Mississippi. Because if you've been to Mississippi, there is no job growth. Mississippi and Louisiana are like the same thing.
Kind of the kind.
Louisiana has the highest criminals. They have the highest incarceration rate. Mississippi is right behind them. Mississippi is the poorest state in the Union. Louisiana is right behind them. There's no jobs in Mississippi. There's no jobs in Louisiana. Go figure. Go figure. Had you never joined your oppressor, Mississippi and Louisiana, being the two blackest states in the country, would have been booming with black business, would have been booming with black schools, would have been booming with all those farms. Imagine how much land is out there. That's where all of our forefathers, if you're from the tribe of Judah, come from. Mississippi and Louisiana. Because that's where the ports to slaves led to. South Carolina, Mississippi, and Louisiana. The tribe of Reuben and the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Judah are from Louisiana. Like, that's a historically black state out of all the states in the country for the tribes of Israel. There would be a booming town in Louisiana and Mississippi had you never joined the oppressor.
Right.
Jim Crow shouldn't matter to you because you're going to continue to be unalived by police in Mississippi. You're going to continue to, like, this blows my mind because Elisha, you would have thought that Mississippi was already under Jim Crow.
Right.
Don't you suffer? Let me ask people in Mississippi this, Elisha. This is what you ask people in Mississippi. Was life better during Jim Crow in Mississippi, or was life better now? Because I think that you don't have clean drinking water in Mississippi right now. This is post Jim Crow.
Cut of the kind.
We're not in Jim Crow now, and they still don't have clean drinking water, Elisha. Guess what? They had clean drinking water during Jim Crow in Mississippi. Not only did they have clean drinking water, they owned all of the farms in Mississippi. Go research all of the black farmers in Mississippi in 1950 and in 1940. And now research the black farmers after segregation. It'll make you cry. You lost all of that land. You had land during Jim Crow. You had resources. You had water. Guess what else Mississippi is famous for? They're HBCUs. They have HBCUs in Mississippi where famous black people have gone to school and got their degrees in education. So you mean to tell me that you had better education under Jim Crow, you had better resources under Jim Crow, you had clean drinking water, and you had land and farms and businesses? Brother, you should want Jim Crow to come back. You should be asking the oppressor, please bring it back so we could have better clean drinking water. Because now, not under Jim Crow, your drinking water you can't drink it. It's not potable. It's horrible. You'll get sick and die if you drink the water in Mississippi. During Jim Crow, you had clean drinking water.
Right.
You should want it to come back. Although it's not going to happen, your focus should be on separating from your oppressor so you could live life as if you were living in Jim Crow in Mississippi.
Right.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Elisha, but life was better when we were under Jim Crow in Mississippi. Now you're not under Jim Crow. You're under, integration. And now life is just horrible for your children in Mississippi.
Right.
Black people loved Mississippi at one time, Mike, when we actually had businesses and jobs and food and resources and land and colleges. But now everybody's moving the hell out of Mississippi because there's nothing there. Now there's just poverty there. You were better off in Jim Crow. Your grandmother and grandfather own their farm. What do? Work at a meal in Mississippi making $17 an hour trying to feed 5 children? You wouldn't have to worry about where your food came from in Mississippi when you had a farm during Jim Crow.
Right.
You should want Jim Crow to come back. Salaki,
Yeah, I'm right. No. Most High Christ. And not to mention, with or without the Jim Crow, you still got oppressors like Derek Chauvin. Is that how you say his name? Mm-hmm. They can put a knee on the brother's neck for 7 minutes. And I don't think we got Jim Crow out of one.
There's no Jim Crow out here.
There's no Jim Crow. you know what I mean?
Was.
You would think it was. You understand? I forgot. It was
Isaiah.
Baba Kashai. It was something else that was on my mind. It'll come back to me.
Yeah, this is what's on your. So, like, if I could, this was on your mind. If you're a black person in Mississippi, you should want Jim Crow.
Right.
That's it. What in the hell are you going on Twitter and making TikTok videos for?
All day.
About we can't have this. You should be asking for it. You should want it. Isn't your water non-potable in Mississippi? How is that possible? And Mississippi has the largest river in the world. How isn't there any potable water in Mississippi? Because your leaders joined you to your oppressor in Mississippi.
Right.
They joined you to Lester Maddox. They joined you to Laurleen Wallace. They joined you to those oppressors who once in Mississippi prevented black people from voting. Well, guess what, Elisha? Can black people vote in Mississippi now? They can. No, they can't.
Oh, they can. You said they can?
Yeah, they can vote in Mississippi.
I'm thinking of Atlanta. Atlanta.
They can vote in Mississippi. You can vote everywhere. Everywhere, everybody is allowed, is legal, is allowed to vote. Mississippi, you can vote. And even in your voting, you still are worse now when you can vote in Mississippi than when you couldn't vote in Mississippi. Right. Like, what? The point is, it was a waste of time, and that's what I want black people to understand about civil rights. That's what we need black people to understand about integration. That's what we need black people to understand about what you watch on podcasts and all of these TikTokers and podcasters. It's all a waste of time.
That's right.
What in the hell did your forefathers in Mississippi get lynched for? To vote for what? For you to have dirty drinking water? That's what they got lynched for? They were drinking clean water when they were getting lynched. What are your son is going to die because he's thirsty? Are you out of your mind? What was all of it for? What did Dr. King go down there and get arrested for in Mississippi? Which I think that was the state he got arrested for the most times.
Mississippi.
In Mississippi. Like, what in the hell was it all for? It was a waste of time. Your great-grandfather lived better than you in pre-racial Mississippi. Your grandfather putting his face in a laughing barrel, having to be divided on what side of the street he can walk on, what stores he can go to, what colleges he can go to. He lived better than you, Ak. He lived better than you. You're in Mississippi, and what, your child is going to starve and die because they're thirsty and hungry, because there's no food, no water, and no jobs in Mississippi? Guess who had jobs in Mississippi when it was pre-racial Mississippi? Black people had all the jobs. Black people were the tradesmen. Black people were your blacksmiths, your goldsmiths. They were your farmers. They were your farriers, the horseshoers. Black people was it. Why? Because in Mississippi, that's where your slaves were. And slaves had all the skills. They had skills. So in the 1950s, it was no problem for a black man to get a job.
Right.
He could get a job like it was nothing. Why? Because white men weren't doing farrier work. And they weren't doing laborers' jobs. They were going to college to be lawyers. And guess what? Black men were being their plumbers. And they were making good money, Ak. And now your sons and daughters don't even have that. Why? Because Arabs and Chinese and white women are going to get all of the jobs because you integrated. And now because of integration, they're going to benefit more from your labor and from your lynching and from your unaliving than any of your people. What was the point of it, Ak? It was a waste of time.
That's right.
And black people have to understand, black Christians especially, you have to come to the realization that when you did all that marching, all of that fighting to vote, fighting for the right to vote, it was all for nothing. It was all for nothing, Ak. Now your son and daughter doesn't have clean drinking water. Now you can get no job in Mississippi if you're black. Your daughter and son are going to end up in jail in Mississippi. You're going to end up in Winfield. You're going to end up in jail in Mississippi. Look it up. You're not going to go to college, which is, they have some of the most historical black universities there in Mississippi. And now you're not even going to go. What was all of that goddamn marching for and going to jail for in the 50s and 60s? You'll be better off under Jim Crow. You better just thank the Lord if they bring Jim Crow back, because guess what? You'll have clean drinking water in Mississippi.
Hey.
You'll have farms in Mississippi.
That's heavy.
And jobs.
Kind of the kind.
You ask for them to bring Jim Crow back. You better be begging for it and pray to God that Jim Crow comes back in Mississippi. And you better ask God that Jim Crow comes back everywhere in all 50 states of the Americas. You better ask for it. You better pray for it every night. Why? Because black people were better off in Jim Crow than out of Jim Crow.
Yeah, I'm right. Because integration ultimately destroyed blacks and Hispanics if you just don't understand what's going on. And if you got that, because when you was dropping it about how all these podcasts and how all these brothers seem to be so wise, and Alex Jones is telling you, future heavy Nothing. Alex Jones is the leader of GMS. It used to be an Israelite group called GMS.
Yes.
And I believe their elder Tahar passed it to Alex Jones. Am I right, Ottawa?
And behold the pale horse.
And behold, you know what?
That was their Bible line.
Listen.
That was their Bible.
Listen, Ottawa, my first time of me hearing about that book, seeing that book, I didn't want to read it. I was interested. I ain't gonna lie. It was some oppressor named DJ Blaze. He wasn't my cellie, of course, but I was locked up in Beaumont, and he would just keep trying to tell me about this book and how heavy it was. And he used to come. He's like, the government, they use. He used to tell me all this stuff that they tried to use about the Black Panthers. God. He thought he was trying to soften me up with the Black Panthers, but he was a conspiracy nut. And I didn't know nothing about Alex Jones or none of this, because I was just a nigga in the street. I didn't know nothing about nothing. I knew one thing in Salakia, but he was trying to tell me about that book. I didn't know nothing about that book, and come to find out, I come into ISUPK. And I'm as I'm learning this truth under Commander General Yohana and the men above me, I run into all kind of conspiracy nuts. You run into all kind of conspiracy nuts. Hey, brother, don't you know the earth is flat?
Alex Jones.
And how is that going to get our people off crack? I don't want.
That's right.
How is that going to stop the police from, committing crimes against Black and Hispanics?
That's right.
How is that going to change the conditions of the water in Mississippi and in Flint, Michigan? Right. The damn earth being flat. Because our people don't care about the truth. Our people cares about, fantasies and fascinations, getting high and fulfilling their lust. Because this is how I feel, Adawan, especially those brothers and sisters that was big on the Illuminati. You take a picture like this, they swear you the goddamn devil.
God.
Or you do this, they be like, oh, did you see Jay-Z throw up? Nigga, you smoke weed.
Right.
You sleep with hoes.
You're the devil.
You talking about Jay-Z doing this. He throwing up, he got the diamond. He threw up the diamond. And nigga, you sleep with hoes. Right. Salakia. This is not killing nobody.
Right.
This is not killing nobody.
All right. God.
But that damn philosophy you get from your oppressor in that Christian church is killing everybody.
That's right.
You understand? And it's because of this. You got that out of one?
God. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 9. That this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Most High.
This says this is a rebellious people. Our people don't want to hear the laws of the Most High God. We're too busy worrying about this and this,
right?
And the COVID-19 vaccine,
the flat Earth.
In the flat Earth. It's the COVID-19 vaccine. When Commander General Yohana bought that out, they was like, oh, the ISUPK is over there teaching. They're teaching whatever the hell you said we was teaching. You said the COVID-19 will mutate you into a mermaid. Did they say that? It sound about right.
It'll mutate them into a monster.
You said the COVID. You said the COVID-19 vaccine was going to mutate you into a monster. Read on out of why Baba can shot.
This is a rebellious people.
Because we're rebellious, man. We don't want to hear the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. Y'all don't want to listen. We don't want to listen to Commander General Yohana. We rather listen to Alex Jones.
That's right.
We rather listen to MLK.
That's right.
We rather listen to Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
That's right.
We rather listen to some nut on a podcast who knows absolutely nothing.
That's right.
Who dropped out of middle school.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of brothers like that, but they not trying to lead a nation either.
Right. They
not trying to drop it like heavy, like they know the earth is flat, right. And I mean, it's countless. It's so many of that. I don't even listen to that stuff.
God.
But when I come across it, I just ask myself this one question, and I'm being for real. How does this get you off crack?
Right.
I know that sounds weird for me to say that, but you telling me about the earth being flat, how does this get you off crack?
That's right.
How does this get you off weed, brother? How does this stop our sisters from being hoes? How does this stop our children from being molested? Our people, we don't think about none of that. And then you ask them, why is this so important? Because the government is lying.
Right.
Newsflash, nigga. Salakia. They been lying about everything.
That's right.
They lie about everything. They lie about your identity. They lie about, the color of Christ. All the important things that matter, they've lied about.
That's right.
They lied about.
That's right.
And here we are worrying about if the earth is a pancake.
Right. God.
Salaki, Baba Kishah, keep reading out of while Baba Kishah.
Lying children. Children that would not hear the law of the Most High.
Keep reading. I know
Verse
it's going
10,
to the next verse.
Which say to seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. Speak unto us smooth things. Prophesy deceits.
So the Bible said that we want the lies. We don't want the truth. We don't want the things that are going to heal our nation.
That's right.
We don't want our sisters to stop being hoes.
Right.
Jesse Jackson's going to tell sister, my body, my choice.
Right.
He'll tell sisters a woman has a right to do with her body.
That's right.
That aborting, 300,000 innocent black and Hispanic babies a year?
That's right.
That's more profitable than saving their lives, Adawan.
That's right.
That's more profitable than building the nation of Israel. You'll just go get an abortion. When right 3 hours away in St. Louis is the biggest abortion clinic in the earth, I think.
It was.
It was.
But because Missouri, remember after the federal government, they passed, the Supreme Court said that there's no more abortions. So now the states, Missouri was one of the states where you can't get an abortion. So before the Supreme Court, had it not been for white people being more moral than you, then you would have been able to go to St. Louis and get all the abortions you wanted.
So, but the point being, the point being is that our sisters were running to get abortions at an alarming rate.
That's right.
300,000 black and Hispanic babies and Native Indian babies a year, that's a genocide.
That's right.
You understand? And we read it earlier how our oppressor lifted up thy head and, took crafty counsel against God's chosen people, man. And we're not realizing it because we tell the seers, you tell the men in the ISUPK under Commander General Anna, you don't want to hear what we have to say.
That's right.
But you'll listen to T.D. Jakes. You'll listen to Creflo Dollar. We'll listen to, MLK. We'll listen to Joe Biden and Donald Trump. With none of that information, none of that doctrine, anything that they say benefits blacks and Hispanics, man.
Right.
It tears us down. Oh, you got something to say?
So like I was going to say, that's why the Bible says lying children. Because you
love
lying. And you want someone who's going to tell you lies. Everybody knew in the 50s and the 60s that you should not have integrated. You knew it was a waste of time, and you can clearly see Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton knew it. Dr. King knew it. But you still did it. Why? Because you're lying children who really don't want to make change. You really don't care about change. Change to older black people and black people in the Christian church is a philosophy. Change is not real in the church. It's not something you can actually attain. Change is just philosophy. You sit around and you have all of these stupid discussions that mean absolutely nothing. Discussing. What the hell are you doing? Talking about change? Is that what you're doing? Talking to me about change? In the UPK, we actually enforce it.
That's right.
There's no alternative in here. You're not going to come in the UPK or stay in the UPK if you do not change. The church, you can just talk about it. You can keep going to church and talk about change. That's why the scripture says lying children, because you love to just lie. You're rebellious, which is a rebellious child is the worst child that you ever want. A rebellious child, meaning they don't listen to anything you say. They do what they want to do. Even though the Lord said not to unalive your baby, you're going to do it.
That's right.
Even though the Lord said not to get high and smoke Newports and Swisher Sweets and put a burning fire to your lips, you're going to smoke cigars.
That's right.
You're going to smoke Newports.
That's right.
You're going to smoke Swisher Sweets. You're going to pop perks and get high. You're going to make a whore out of your sister, even though the Lord said don't do it. You could read it all day long in the Bible. I could explain it to you all day long. But it's something in blacks and Hispanics that want to be rebellious. You want to sin against the Lord because there is a place called the Christian church that will make you feel good about doing it. So when you come in contact with a priest of God instead of just listening to what we say and you stop getting high and put the blunt down, you're going to keep getting high at the campsite and battle us and say, no, weed comes from the earth. You know why you can say weed comes from the earth? Because there is no judgment that's going to put you to death for smoking weed. You're going to go to church and the pastor is going to say, you can smoke weed, just give me $25.
That's right.
We tell you not to abort your baby. You say at camp, I've had 7 abortions and it's my body, my choice.
That's right.
Because the church empowers you. Your church and your pastor empowers you to live an unlawful lifestyle, to live a rebellious lifestyle. In the UPK, we tell you cannot divorce your husband. You can't divorce your husband. The pastor said, divorce your husband. It's legal. It's lawful. Give me $25. Give me $50 and you can divorce your husband. The church encourages rebellious behavior. That's what the church does. In the UPK, we don't promote that behavior. We don't accept that lifestyle, not because of our opinion and our personal beliefs, but because it's in the Bible.
That's right.
That's it. We don't want to be rebellious, and we don't want our people to be rebellious. We don't want to hate our brothers in thine heart. We don't want our brothers to hate their brothers in their heart either. So what are we going to do? Just talk about it like they do on all of these podcasts, just a bunch of discussion. And let me help everybody out with this too, Elisha Salaki. I know what's going on.
No.
Everybody on those podcasts are lying to you.
That's right.
Every last one. Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, all of these blackity black podcasts, Dr. Umar Johnson, all of these niggas that you love to listen to, they don't live the lifestyle they're telling you on podcasts. All of these women y'all share that are in agreement with supporting men. All of these stupid laden women that are in agreement with just, I think that the woman should cook her husband a meal at 3:00 in the morning when he asks for it. She should get her butt up and make the meal. Then there's a woman who says what? There's a group of women who say what? They call feminists. They say, no, it's women's rights. We should. Guess what, Elisha? Those bitches don't believe in anything they're talking about.
Right.
None of them have men.
Right.
None of them are married. None of them care about making dinners at 3 in the morning. The woman who says, I'm going to make a man at 3:00, I'm going to make a dinner for my husband at 3:00 in the morning if he asks for it, guess what? She's not going to make that breakfast at 3:00 in the morning if her man asks for it. Did I spoil it, Elisha?
Oh, no.
Did I spoil it for every dummy out there that listens to those idiots?
Maybe.
The woman who says, I'm never making no man no meal at 3:00 in the morning. Guess what, Elisha? She's going to make a man a meal at 3 in the morning. Dr. Umar Johnson's been building the school for 15 years, Ak. Guess what, Elisha? There's no school, Ak. He just bought a building and working on a building.
I thought he did open it.
It's not even open.
Oh,
guess what, Elisha? It's still not open. Every year I listen to him talk about every year on the Breakfast Club, Ak, since 2015. They've been saying, when is it going to be open? Well, next year, 2016, it'll be open. Well, when is it going to be open? It's 2017. It's going to be open in 2019. It's 2020. It's going to be open in 2022. I guess 2023. Let me help everybody out. Your children are never going to Dr. Umar's school. There won't be one. Did I spoil it for you? Like, your whole entire life, you've listened to a bunch of rebellious, lying children. That's why the Bible calls you children. Because you believe anything somebody says. I tell my son, Elisha, I tell my child, look, it's something behind you. Guess what they're going to say? Oh, it's something behind me? You're a child. You believe in magic tricks in schools that are never open. And you believe in dumb people on the internet on podcasts that just lie to you all day. What they say is not true. Jim Crow laws are not going to be passed in Mississippi. The COVID-19 vaccine did not ever have pork in it. And it was never going to turn you and mutate you into some garbage. You are a lying child who just likes to lie. It's like a little child. You ever see a child that just says, look, go over there and my mama said she going to do this for you just to prank them. And they going to look back and say, oh, I laugh. They lied to you. They just lied to you because you're a lying child. You're a child. You're not a full-grown man. God knows that. Don't ever compare yourself to the men in UPK. We don't believe the lies of people on podcasts. We don't believe Joe Rogan. You know what Joe Rogan said? Drink your urine. It's going to save you from COVID-19. That's what he said, Doc.
Hold on.
And people, guess what, Elisha? People believed him.
Salakia.
Just a couple of years ago, there was a trend on TikTok and on Twitter.
Good night.
And they said to eat those washing pods that go in your laundry. And guess what, Doc? the Tide Pods company had to put some label that said "Do not ingest because it will kill you." In 80 years of Tide being around, the company never thought they had to do that. Why? Because normally people wouldn't be this stupid and be 55 years old. You would think that a child would follow a trend, not a 27-year-old grown man or grown woman. But because you're so stupid, you just are a liar and you're just rebellious. You're going to do, even though the box of cigarettes said do not smoke, on the carton of cigarettes, Elisha, make sure you always bring this out, especially breaking this scripture down. The carton of cigarettes has a Surgeon's General warning.
Do not smoke.
And it says, do not smoke.
God of the God.
You read the box of cigarettes and you still smoke the cigarettes. You're rebellious.
God of the God.
You're just a rebellious person, ain't you? You're just a renegade, huh? You just go against laws and rules. Well, maybe that's why you are in prison so much. Maybe that's why you get unalived by the police so much. Maybe that's the reason why no nation respects you, Elisha. Maybe that's the reason why so many black men don't respect other black men. Why in the hell would you? What do you want me to love black men? Why? Just so he can be a liar and a cheat and a thief? There's no code or respect or honor in the Christian church. What in the hell are you doing telling me to love black people when you're just rebellious as I am? This is why God had to put it in the Bible, to show you in your face that you're just a lying, rebellious person who really just doesn't care about anybody but themselves.
Right.
You're just a dummy who listens to people on podcasts talking about they're going to make their husband a meal at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you sit around on Facebook and argue about it. What do you argue about? Who's better, Michael Jordan, LeBron James? Guess what, Elisha? Let me help black men out with this. Guess what? LeBron James and Michael Jordan both hate black men. Neither one of them give a damn about you,
right,
or your children, or your communities. They don't care. What in the hell are you talking about? Who's better, Michael Jordan, LeBron James? None of them care about you,
right?
None of them care about your community. None of them have did anything to Flint or to Mississippi where they have no clean drinking water and they're worth billions of dollars. Why do you even care? Why do you even watch it, Mark? Let me help people out. I don't even watch the NBA. I don't watch it. I don't care. There's nothing wrong with it. You watch it if you want. But I'm be damned if I'll be on Facebook all day and night starting groups and podcasts talking about grown men. What is that? What are you wasting time? Isn't that what the scripture just said, Elisha? It just said, Salakia.
Well, you talking about verse 9?
In Isaiah. What did it just say? It said that they would not hear the law of the Lord. Would say to seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy to us right things. Guess what? You don't want to see anything but debates about LeBron and Michael Jordan. You don't want to hear, instead, imagine if brothers had a podcast where they talking about loving other black men. Why don't you ever see that? Why don't you ever see rappers go to the industry and say, I'm not going to rap about unaliving brothers and sisters. I'm going to rap about loving black people, even if it means my whole entire career. Why don't you see that? You know why? Because they don't care about loving black men. They don't care about loving each other, which is why, we have to teach it in the Isupk.
That's right.
You don't see and you don't want to see. You don't hear the truth and you don't want to hear the truth. You want to debate about LeBron James and Michael Jordan. You want to have sex with white women. You want to unalive your baby in your womb, the fetus in your womb, the living thing in your womb. You want to get high and smoke cigarettes even though the Surgeon General said don't smoke cigarettes. You want to do what you want to do. That's and right. There's a penalty for living that lifestyle. Damn right. There's a charge for a rebellious child. There's a penalty and a punishment for a child who doesn't listen to their parent. And you, blacks and Hispanics, are the same way. Damn right. You want to start cartels, even though you're going to be unalived in the cartel and you're going to unalive your people, there's a punishment for you, brother. There's a punishment for you.
That's right.
That's la ley. There's a punishment for you. You want to go and abort your child, sis? There's a punishment for you. Guess what? Now you're going to have an eternal period. You never wanted to get pregnant anyway. Why would you care about an eternal period? You know that's a condition that black women get. Just like the sister of blood in the Bible.
I had a cousin with it.
What did they care about the pain of periods? You didn't want the pain of childbirth. There's a penalty for your behavior in the Bible. There's a punishment for it. And it is very practical. And guess what, Elisha? It's very just.
Kind of the kind.
It's very just.
Damn right.
Salakia.
Damn right.
Salakia. You don't. What in the hell are we? What all this talk about free Larry Hoover and loving black people? What's going to happen when Larry Hoover gets out of prison? He's going to get unalived in Chicago. Why? Because there's a punishment for not loving your brother.
That's right.
When the hell did Larry Hoover ever love black men? What, you led him to a gang? You're a loser who teaches young men to unalive other black men. And then after you spend a long enough time in prison, you recant your statements. And now you want to revisit the things and the actions you did. It's too late. It's too late. It's too late. And that's the problem with the church, is it allows you to live a lifestyle that you want to live. And that, look, Elisha, that's fine. Go get high and smoke crack for all I care. I don't give a damn. You go abort all the babies you want. But this is what I don't want you to do. When you're 60 years old or 50 and you're just now getting out of prison and you're miserable and lonely, don't come and call us out.
Right.
Because when we told you the truth in the 60s, you didn't listen. When we told you the truth in the 70s, you didn't listen. When we told you the truth in the 80s, you decided to listen to Jesse Jackson. You wanted to listen to Dr. King. You wanted to listen to Joe Biden. You wanted to listen to Malcolm X. You didn't want to listen to the prophets of God. So now guess what, Elisha? When you're going and suffering and dying from a terrible illness like cancer and HIV, guess what, Elisha? Don't come contact us.
Right.
We told you to love black people since 1969. Isn't that what Commander Giuliani's order is? For all camps to come together?
Damn right.
So since 1969, we've been teaching black people how to love each other. Elisha, don't be mad when the black on black crime rate is sky high.
Right.
What are you complaining about, Crips and Bloods, Elisha? Is that what black people do?
All the day.
Are they complaining about, I saw a podcast.
They complain about Charleston White.
They complain about Charleston White. They complain about Crips and Bloods. The black on black crime is so high in Kansas City, huh? What do you care? You hate black people.
Right.
What difference does it make? You hate black people. The niggas that kill black people hate black people. Y'all are the same.
That's right.
There's no difference between you two. What are you charging Larry Hoover for creating some gang? You don't care about young black men. You could care less about young black men. What do you care about women being hoes? Sisters got to start dressing better. Sisters got to cover up. What do you care? You're going to F them anyway.
Right.
You love a whore. That's who all of your baby mamas are. They're all whores.
Right.
So what do you care about your daughter dressing like a whore? Isn't that her mama? You decided to have sex with whores. You love hoes and you love big booty women with BBLs and fake behinds and fake breasts. Not saying it's wrong. Not saying it's unlawful. But you prefer whores. You prefer your women to dress unbecoming of a daughter of Israel. So when your daughter blows every football player on her high school football team, don't be mad.
Right. You
don't care about how women act. So why do you care if your daughter is a whore? You love whores. That's the Bible. You reap what you sow. What you put in is what you get.
That's right.
That's an old farming technique. If you sow apples, you're getting apples. If you sow oranges, you get oranges. But what about if you sow hatred to black people? What happens when you get pulled over by the cops and they beat your brains in? You didn't love black people anyway. So what now are you going to do? You're going to call to action. Right now you're going to say, I'm sick of all this police brutality that's been happening to black people. Like Boosie Badass. When he got pulled over by the cops.
Oh, yeah.
He got pulled over by the cops and now he wants to call. We got to stop all this. What? You killed black men. You sold drugs to black men and pregnant women. What do you care about black people? When the cops pull you over and they beat your brains in and they profile you, don't be mad. It's you reaping the whirlwind. That's your judgment.
Right.
That's what you get for all of the years of living a terrible life to black people and not doing anything the prophets of God say and not doing anything God says.
That's right.
You're going to live a life that you regret because instead of listening to Commander Giuliani and us in Isupk, Kansas City, you're going to be evicted out of your homes in Kansas City. You're not going to have anywhere to stay in Kansas City. And all of your businesses that are black and brown are going to be destroyed in Kansas City. You know why? Guess why? Guess why?
Because we don't obey.
Because you're rebellious children.
Rebellious children.
Salakia.
Kind of the kind. And as I was listening to you, Adewine, being rebellious is being stupid. Like when you just saying like how the nation is like being rebellious is being stupid. Because you're running from the one and only thing that will save your life. And then you're running to the things that are oppressor in the Christian church and poor black leadership. We're running to that, and that has done nothing for blacks and Hispanics. It hasn't saved our lives. It hasn't changed our conditions.
That's right.
We was better off in Jim Crow.
That's right.
But yet, we would rather continue to be Christian. We would rather smoke weed, sleep with hoes, like you said, with are they BBLs?
BBLs.
We would rather sleep with hoes with BBLs. Brothers would rather, try to be like Big Meech.
That's right.
All those things have failed black, Hispanics, and Native Indians. But we don't consider, because everybody want to be rough. Everybody want to be, everybody want to be gangster. Everybody want to be G. Like you said, Adawan, we want to have that rebellious attitude or live that rebellious life. We want to be thugs. You understand?
That's right.
We want to, worship other gods and be into other cultures.
That's right.
You understand? We want to be into other cultures, which makes us rebellious, but it also makes us stupid. And we have to show blacks and Hispanics that makes us stupid in order for us to realize that, well, maybe that lifestyle isn't what I should be doing. Maybe you can save your children. Maybe you can save another brother or sister instead of selling them crack and having an attitude that makes you rebellious. You wouldn't go to prison.
Right.
You wouldn't have to go to prison for 20, 30, 50 years.
Yeah, right.
You understand? You wouldn't have to bury your homies. Sisters wouldn't abort 5 or 6 children. What was that one class? Both the sisters said they knew sisters that had 5 abortions.
6.
6 abortions. 7 abortions. I mean, we are in bad shape because of our rebellion. And we have to realize as blacks and Hispanics that our rebellion makes us stupid. Because trying to join the Christian church, trying to continue the same lifestyle that has never worked out for blacks and Hispanics is insanity. It's insane to keep trying something that's harming you. Even an animal, I don't want even an animal. You look at an animal through nature. A dog's not going to keep, doing the same thing if it hurts it. But blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians will continue to try. What hurts us, harms us, and kills us because of our rebellion, we'll continue to try to do it or manipulate it in different ways. Because the Bible says we are wise to do evil. And when we're wise to do evil, and when we're rebellious, it's nothing else but death. Because the Bible says the wages of sin is death.
That's right.
And if you rebel against the Most High God, like you were bringing out of wine, the ultimate consequence is death. And the men in the Isupk under Commander General Hana, we don't want death for our nation.
That's right.
Christ didn't want death for his nation. He didn't lay down his life for his brothers and sisters just for us to die.
Right.
You understand? And that's why Christianity is so disgusting. Because they teach Christ did lay down his life so you can die. And we don't even realize it. We don't realize that how important brotherhood is and forgiveness of your brother is. We don't realize that we're God's greatest people on this earth. He chose us and lifted us up out of the dust to become the nation who is special.
That's right.
He gave us his laws, statutes, and commandments, which we are to obey, which governs us, which protects us from all the unrighteousness in the earth. Right. But yet, we rather rebel against what's going to protect us. You understand?
That's right.
We have to come back to the Most High God. And this is what the men in the Isupk under Commander General Hana, we just want our brothers and sisters to live.
Yeah, right.
That's all. We're just tired of seeing all the, the unalivings. We're tired of seeing all the child molestations. We're tired of seeing our communities, our brothers and sisters, go to prison forever and ever and ever. We're tired of seeing mothers and fathers on crack, having to sell their kids' toys to provide their needs. We're tired of all that.
Yeah, right.
The Most High God has been tired of it.
Yeah, right.
He could have chosen another nation, but he kept his covenant.
Yeah, right.
And he sent his only son. He sent our King Christ, a brother from the tribe of Judah, to save our lives, to give us a chance to repent And the Christian church teaches us to take advantage of that.
Yeah, right.
That's why it's so disgusting, man. And this is what we doing. If I can, I don't mind. If I can get another precept in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Because anytime you can go around and teach that, you know, blacks and Hispanics don't have a consequence, like you was just bringing out Adawan, which was so heavy, and it was so true. There's a consequence for our action.
That's right.
And the men in this school in the ISUPK, we understand its consequences for our actions, even if you don't understand.
That's right.
You understand? We have patience for our nation. You may think what we do is hateful. You may think what we do is, you know, crazy or insane. But Christ did the exact same thing. And if you can understand the mission of Christ, you can understand the mission of Commanding General Han and the men up under him in the ISUPK, man.
That's right.
Because we want what's better for our nation. When we was talking to that sister and you was asking her, you know, who would be better? Who would be better to lead you? The government now, meaning Joe Biden or our oppressor right now, or someone in this school? And that sister was so rebellious. She knew the answer, but she was so rebellious she just wouldn't say the answer. Because of course she lived an alternative lifestyle. And in your lifestyle is more important than brotherhood, is more important than your nation, is more important than obeying the Most High God's laws. You deserve to be ruled by a nation that is so wicked.
That's right.
And harmful and who could care less about you. Because if you can care less about what protects you, you already lost the battle. You understand? You shouldn't go out and talk about anything if you're putting off or putting away or disregarding the very thing that will protect you, man. That will protect blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians from our current edition.
That's right.
Condition, Salakia. You got that out of one? Salakia.
Oh, shit. I just lost it. Salakia, Khan, I got it. I got you.
I'm Salakia, my bad.
No, you too wild. I just lost it. That was my fault.
Nah, you too wild. Yeah, we don't allow brothers and sisters in this school to think that it's ever okay to sin against the Most High God.
That's right.
Because the scriptures say, you know, like it says, and I forget where it's at, but it says, have I become your enemy if I tell you the truth? That's how brothers and sisters look at the men in the ISUPK. When we go out to camp, you know, when they come when they're rebelling against the scriptures out in camp, when they showing that they hate the truth, we tell a brother or sister, you can't be LGBTQ because of God's laws. They think that we hate them.
That's right.
You understand? Because they chose an alternative lifestyle that the Most High God said that you shouldn't choose. Now you got pastors, and this is what's so disgusting about the Christian church. What was that? Was that on Black Watch or was that on General Mahaiman's class? When he pulled out that pastor said that Sodom and Gomorrah wasn't about homosexuality.
God, it was in General Mahaiman's class. God.
Because that pastor hates his congregation.
That's right.
But the men in the ISUPK, we love our congregation. And it's written right here in the law. You got that out of one?
God. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him.
That pastor, what is so disgusting about that pastor and cats like him and T.D. Jakes and MLK, they suffer sin upon their brothers and sisters. They suffer sin so much that they deceive their very own nation so they profit.
That's right.
I'm not going to tell you that that pastor said that it was Sodom and Gomorrah had nothing to do with the alternative lifestyle.
Right.
I mean, you have LGBTQ members that don't even agree with their own lifestyle because they know it's wrong.
Right.
Some young brother or some young sister has been hurt and taken advantage of as a child.
That's right.
And that pastor doesn't give a damn about their past or the hurt because he sees a motive.
That's right.
He sees a motive, just like our oppressor sees a motive. And the motive is to get money.
That's right.
Because the LGBT community, because they don't have tons of children like straight blacks, Hispanics and Native Indians, like straight people, they have a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? They have a lot of money.
Right.
I'm going to just say they have a lot of extra money that they can spend on, the latest product or the latest fashions or the latest shoes.
That's right.
So if you push the narrative that living that alternative lifestyle is cool and you can be secure and you can get a bag, everyone's going to want to chase their dream.
So like it, don't say narrative, say push the lie.
Push the lie.
Of alternative lifestyle.
If they want to push the lie of the alternative lifestyle, that you can get a bag, they're not going to think about the consequences or what led someone up to making that decision to be in an alternative lifestyle.
That's right.
They're not going to think about that. All they're thinking about is how many people can come into their church and support this lie.
That's right.
But the men in Isupk, can you read that from the top, Adawan?
Come on. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
We don't hate blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. As a matter of fact, we don't hate nobody.
That's right.
Because the truth is what makes people, when you're rebellious, you just hate the truth.
That's right.
You understand? We don't hate anyone. It's just when people are rebellious, they hate the truth. And the Bible says you can't suffer sin on your brother.
That's right.
You can't hate your brother in your heart. You understand? We're not going to tell you it's okay to be LGBTQ because no amount of money, no amount of people coming into this truth is worth the lies being told to blacks and Hispanics, because we understand we are being destroyed as a nation because of that lie.
That's right.
But your pastor is going to let you do anything. He's going to allow you to live an alternative lifestyle. He's going to tell you it's okay to celebrate your birthdays. He's going to tell you it's okay to celebrate Christmas.
That's right.
Because he has no brotherhood. Because he's not loyal to the Most High God. He's not loyal to his nation. He's not loyal to Christ. He's loyal to the devil.
That's right.
Our oppressor. You understand? Any more on that, Adawan?
Come on. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
It says, the Bible says, and thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor. What is rebuke? You understand? Rebuke is what we go out and do every Saturday.
That's right.
Rebuke, Salakia, the ISUPK is built on rebuke.
That's right.
Hell, rebuke built me up.
Damn right.
You understand? Rebuke is beautiful.
That's right.
Rebuke is love.
That's
because what's the opposite of rebuke? It's allowing the lie to thrive. It's allowing brothers and sisters to believe that living alternative lifestyle is okay.
Right.
It's allowing brothers and sisters to thinking sinning against the Most High God is okay. Lies is telling blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the laws are done away with. That's a lie. That's hate. In ISUPK, we teach love, man.
That's right.
You understand? We don't teach anything hateful. We want to see blacks and Hispanics take the kingdom of heaven under our King Christ.
That's right.
That's what Commanding General Hannah taught me.
Damn right.
You understand? I don't know what the Christian pastor, well, I know what the Christian pastors is teaching. They're teaching you can live an alternative lifestyle.
That's right.
They're not telling brothers who were molested or taken advantage of as small children that, brother, you're like this because you were taken advantage of. They don't even understand that brother's pain or hurt. They don't understand blacks and Hispanics.
Right.
Because they're looking at the nation through the eyes of our oppressor. Because when the Bible says ye are of your father the devil, that's T.D. Jakes. He's teaching the lies of his devil. Therefore, the Christian church and Christianity could never fix black problems. It could never fix Hispanic problems. It could never fix Native Indian problems. Because they teach lies and they hate their nation because they don't have any brotherhood. You understand? Because they won't rebuke. Instead of rebuke, they're going to allow you to come inside the church, like you said earlier, out of wine and smoke weed. They're going to allow you to come inside the church and stay a hoe. You're going to have, what was the sisters that had pole
dance classes.
Pole dance classes in the church. You understand?
Break down what rebuke is.
So like you sir.
Make sure you explain what
rebuke
is.
Rebuke, and what rebuke is according to the Bible is what we would say setting brothers straight, telling them that the lies in the Christian church, telling them that the lies or the laws that according to the Bible or the laws that the Most High God gave blacks and Hispanics still stand. That you can't break the Most High God's laws. So if you celebrate your birthday, the men in ISUPK and the Commanding Journey Hunter, we're going to tell you you can't celebrate your birthday. That's rebuke.
Rebuke is correction.
And correction, kind of the kind. That's rebuke. Correction of sin. And that's the problem, you know, blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians have, is that we have no correction inside the Christian church.
That's right.
You understand? They don't correct us, man. They allow us to do what we want to do. Because if God's laws are done away with, that means you can do anything you want to do. That means that you can, you know, eat pork. You can eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. You can sleep with hoes. You can marry outside of your nation. You understand?
That's right.
And if the laws of the Most High God are done away with, check this out. You're saying that it's okay for someone to rape somebody. They're also saying it's okay for children to get molested. They're also saying that it's okay to, you know, unalive people for no reason. Because
right.
all those are sins, right? In the ISUPK and the Bible, we can't allow blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to think that one sin is greater than the other.
That's right.
You understand? If you're not being corrected, if you think that your sin, and this is how, you know, we think when we're Christian. You understand? Oh, that brother, you know, Elijah CP, when he was in the world, man, he was selling all that dope. He was sleeping with all those, he was shooting guns. He was doing all that. But I'm in here in St. James Baptist on 55th and Park.
Right.
I'm not in jail with CP. He was a bad guy.
God.
But y'all do the same thing.
That's right.
And the Christian church is the reason brothers like myself and so many brothers in the world go to prison. So many children are being molested. So many sisters are in the strip club because they don't rebuke. They don't correct. They don't love their neighbors, man.
That's right.
They don't have any brotherhood.
And also, if I may add, what you're saying is heavy. And when the Bible says in Leviticus 19 and 17, thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. This is what that means. If you do not rebuke or correct your brother or sister from their behavior, then you do not love your brother or sister. That's why the Bible says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. How do you hate your brother in your heart? By not correcting your brother.
That's right.
By not correcting your people. If you see a black and Hispanic person, a North American Indian person, if you see someone from the kinsmen of your flesh, if you see somebody from the children of thy people who is your neighbor in the Bible, and you see them committing an act against God, which is called sin in the Bible, doing something that goes against what God said is a sin.
Right.
So if you celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving and your birthday, it's the same as unaliving somebody. It's the same as taking somebody's life. If you watch somebody in the world doing something that is a sin and you do not say something, you hate that person.
That's right.
If you watch a sister smoke weed and get high and put a cigarette to her lips as she is carrying a baby in her womb and you don't say something to that sister, you hate her and you hate that baby in her womb.
That's right.
You hate the unborn child and you hate your people, because that is what the Bible just said. That's why the scriptures say, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. How do you hate your brother in your heart? By not correcting unlawful behavior.
That's right.
Not correcting ungodly behavior. Everybody hates us on Saturdays going to camp. Since the 60s, they've hated the Israelite School UPK. But what you fail to realize is Commanding General Yohana and the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we absolutely 100% love our brother.
That's right.
We love our people. How do I know? Because every weekend all across God's green earth, there is a school that have been established under Commanding General Yohana to make sure that we correct our brothers.
That's right.
That we rebuke our brothers. That we correct our people from ungodly behavior. That is how you love your people. Not talk, not songs, not dance, not tambourines, not a bunch of laws, not a bunch of marching, a ton of lies being taught in the Christian church. That is what love is. That is not love. Singing songs and dancing does not prove that you love a black or Hispanic man. Telling a black or Hispanic man that you love them doesn't prove that you love them. Correcting their ungodly behavior and rebuking your brother is the only way that you can prove to your people that you love them. That's it. You cannot talk to them enough. You cannot sing songs about them enough. You can't pass laws that's going to one day benefit white women more than it will ever benefit black and Hispanic people and say that's love. That is not love. Joining hand in hand to your oppressor is not love. Having a dream that your people will join hands with your oppressor is not love. Telling black women their body, their choice is not love. Telling black people to vote for me is not love. Telling black people to go to church is not love. Singing songs and making dances about how much you love your mama is not love.
Right.
Love is making sure that you correct the actions of your people.
That's right.
That's the only way that you can prove to God, that you can prove to your brothers and prove to your sisters and prove to your people that you love them. That's what the Bible just said. Making sure you correct your brother, which is why it said in any wise, meaning in any way. If you have to go out of your way to correct your brother, do it. If you have to miss your slavery to go to camp to correct your people, do it. If you have to give up sin just so you can correct your brother, do it. If you have to miss your baby's first tooth coming out, it's just so you can correct your people. If you have to miss her dance recital, if you have to miss your son's saxophone concert in a band in high school just to be at camp to correct your people, then do it. Because that is what the Bible just orders us to do. In any wise, Elisha, that means in any way, make sure that you are not somebody who's enabling your people sin.
Right.
Like the Christian church.
That's right.
They don't correct their brothers.
Yeah,
which
right.
means that they hate their brother
That's right.
in thine heart. Salakia.
No. Because what you drop is so heavy and what you brought out. Because I believe in the Bible, Yahushua said, if ye love me, keep my commandments.
That's right.
You understand? So if you love the Most High God, like the men in the Isupk do, under Commanding General Yohana, we're going to keep the commandments. And we're going to rebuke in any wise. That's right. You understand? If a brother or sister is going off, it's our duty. It's the oath we took. You understand? To correct our nation.
That's right.
Now, after we tell you, you understand? We can't force anyone to do anything. You understand? We can't force you to do nothing.
That's right.
But at least you won't be able to say, well, Malak, Officer Malak, or Elijah Shah, he seen me sleeping with the hoes. No, we go out here every Saturday and we tell you don't sleep with hoes.
That's right.
We tell you don't smoke weed.
That's right.
We tell you don't pop perks.
That's right.
We tell sisters to put some damn clothes on.
Right.
And dress modest.
That's right.
We tell sisters don't abort their children. Because we know what every Christian doesn't know.
Right.
If ye love the Most High God, you have to keep the commandments.
God.
You understand? And we can't be hypocrites, man.
Yeah, right.
We're being led by hypocrites at the moment.
That's right.
Jesse Jackson's a hypocrite. Martin Luther King, guess what? He was a hypocrite. T.D. Jakes, hypocrite. Because they preach God, they tell you about God, but yet they don't teach God's commandments.
That's right.
You understand? Which makes them to be liars, deceitful, and guess what else? Hate their nation.
Yeah, right.
And Christ didn't hate his nation. He loved his nation, man.
Yeah, right.
And with that, I'll pass the class to Priest and Officer Malak.
Most High Christ. You know, right. All right. All right. Shalom. We are the Israelite School UPK, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. Shedding yourself of the world doesn't mean being on Facebook all day. I don't know how you're a new sister and brother in the school and you're making posts on Facebook all day about how much you love the UPK. You should keep quiet so you can learn, and you can't learn if you open your mouth. You can't learn if you talk all the time, and you can't learn if you on Facebook all day posting how much you love the school. You need to be in class and be quiet. I want to say something else I like it, but that's how you shed yourself of the world. You shed yourself of the world by not making posts on Facebook, but by sharing. If you want to be on Facebook, if you want to be on Facebook, sis, and you a new brother and sister, then you need to share everything One West.
That's right.
You don't have to make any posts. Just share everything UPK. Share everything UPK. Listen, learn, come to class, be available. That's how you shed yourself of the world. Coming to class. Not calling, telling your camp leader you can't make it. Not telling your camp leader I won't be in class, I won't be at camp. Salakia, sir, but I can't serve the food with the sisters. That's not shedding yourself of the world. Shedding yourself of the world is being quiet and learning how to be One West. That's the way it has always been done. That's the way it will always be done. Everybody understand? If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister, not commenting under her Facebook posts, asking is she available, or DM, direct messaging her. Go to her camp leader.
That's right.
That's it. Everybody understand?
Kind of the kind.
If a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Just like unaliving a baby in a stomach, that's the same as not paying your tithes. Tithes, everybody understand? Tithes is a commandment. If you don't want blacks and Hispanics unaliving each other, or you don't want your oppressor to continue to oppress your people, then you need to pay your tithes. If you're sick of all the gun violence in your city, you better pay your tithes. If you're sick of Mississippi and Flint not having clean drinking water, you better pay your tithes. It is a commandment.
That's right.
You know better than the brothers shooting up the block in St. Louis or Chicago if you do not pay your tithes. You know better than a homosexual who blows rods if you don't pay your tithes. You and him are the same. Everybody understand? Tithes is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18 verse 21. Malachi chapter 3 verse 8 through 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Most High gives you, give to Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations, the Lord's 54th annual Passover in Raleigh, North Carolina. Everybody understand. It's going to be on and popping. Make sure you're there. It is a commandment also to make sure you are there in attendance to the Lord's 54th annual Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It is a requirement if you're an Israelite. Not something that some nigga on some TV says that he's smoking weed and he's getting high and he goes and purchases some field in Kansas City and say, oh, we all Israelites, let's congregate. All we got to do is congregate. That's not the Passover. The only Passover under the sun is under commanding General Yohana.
That's right.
He was given the authority for God's chosen people, and he is the only person who tells you when the Lord's Passover is. Everybody understand?
That's right.
The Lord's 54th annual Passover is the only Passover. And it is going to happen April 1st. Rain, sun, shine, snow, bad weather, we're going to have the Lord's Passover.
That's right.
Everybody understand, your preparation should have already been made. So if you haven't made preparations, you are already late. Make sure that you are ready for the Passover. There's no Passover demon. You are just lazy and have no discipline. You're not prepared. Stop being so lazy and get disciplined so you can make it to the Lord's 54th annual Passover. Nobody wants to hear about a slavery. Nobody wants to hear about somebody being sick. You had to go to the hospital. F all of that. Make it to the Lord's 54th annual Passover. It's a requirement. You want to fight a demon? That's how you do it. F it and make it to the Passover. That's life. Yeah, everybody understand? And you better make it to the Passover. That's all I know, Elisha. And when you come to the Lord's Passover, you better be on your best behavior. You better make sure that you understand that this is for the Lord, not you. Everybody understand? So, like, also, I have to make sure I say this as well. There are going to be shuttles at the Passover as well. So you don't have to, if you can't get a rental, that's no sweat. You understand? That's no sweat. If you stand at the hotel or any hotels that are UPK approved before the Passover started, and you book these hotels and that's where you're going to be staying, there are going to be shuttles. So you don't have to worry about trying to get a rental car if you're not able to. Everybody understand? The Most High God, the Most High Christ, Commander Juliana, you understand, he's made it to where brothers and sisters, you won't even have an excuse. You can enjoy yourself. You can, take some sips. Don't worry about drinking and driving, none of that. We don't do that in here. We got shuttles for you. You understand? Shuttles that's going to take you back to the hotel and take you to the Passover venue and the Feast of Unleavened venue. Everybody understand? So Most High Christ for Commander Juliana. You better tell him the why when you see him at the Lord's Passover, because he's able to make all of this possible with the tithe money that you better be paying him. Everybody understand? All right? Salakia. Remind Acumen Akwat to check the bulletin board in the hallway. Also, Salakia, about the Feast of Unleavened Bread, make sure you start getting all the leaven out your house now. Yeast, anything that makes bread rise, get it out your house, or keep it in the basement or the garage or your trunk of your car. But it cannot be in your living spaces. Everybody understand? Remind Acumen Akwat to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. Boots, shirts, pants, headband, and war scarf. With that, I imagine, which means to stand. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat. Aimadyum. Barak. Yahabah Shemi Al-Shah Barakatah.
Yahabah Shemi Al-Shah Barakatah.
Yajimatah. Sar, face the sisters. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat. Aimadyum. Barak.
Yahweh Shema Al-Shah Shemi Al-Shah.
Yajimatah. Class dismissed.